All right, ladies and gents, we should be live now, 28th of June. Got ourselves a baseball Monday night slate to break down. Not too small for a Monday night slate, not a full 15 or 13 game or anything like that, but a nice solid ho-hum slate, about the kind of size you usually like, it sounds like.
Yeah, like this slate, a lot of good options. It was fun breaking it down on a members only video. I think we got some good guys to bring up on the public show. Excited to talk it out with you.
All right, guys, so you can see who our pitcher of choice is, and we'll get into him momentarily. Before that, though, we would encourage you all to shimmy on over to the five-pack website and sign up for a membership. So one of my favorite podcasts, he did a full-length show about this the other day, and it was more or less just kind of thanking customers and letting you guys know. For those of you who like support the show in any kind of financial way, I just want you guys all to know that we both appreciate you guys sincerely. Even if it's just, buying a weekly membership for a couple weeks here and there, that's awesome. It does a lot for us. Obviously, we haven't talked about this in a long time, but when the pandemic happened, there's a lot of people who work in the sports industry who kind of took it in the shorts, and we were like, tons of them out there. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts, from both of us to you guys. It is always much appreciated to just know that that is something that means a lot to both of us.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I couldn't agree more.
So if you want to try doing that, website link below. Subscribe to the station if you're new to it. Thumbs up is appreciated. So let's talk about pitching today. And I think we do see the pitching slate almost exactly the same, in the sense that, like, the cheap guys today, like, yeah, we've been doing this for a long time. We can make cases for a couple of them, but they're not cases that are going to get 12 jurors to agree with us if we were being lawyers. Like, they are weak cases. We can
I
make
like
it.
to put that.
Yeah, we're not getting an overwhelming. We're going to get a hung jury at best. So you look at the top guys on this slate because at least they're good. And I think we both rank fastball Freddie a touch above Bauer today. Not saying Bauer couldn't outscore Freddie Peralta. Of course, that's a possibility. But, if you can only play one of them, that's where I'd end up. Peralta, he worked on his slider and changeup a lot in the offseason because he was a guy who relied primarily on his fastball. So what you've seen out of him this year is adding that third pitch and being able to rely on it and increasing the movement on his slider has been turned him from a guy who had upside to a guy who looks like a legit like frontline starter. And he's been awesome all year, except against Cincy. Cincinnati does a fantastic job against him of working counts. They obviously have a really good team strategy against him, as he has not been great against Cincy. But outside of that, and the first inning against Philly, he's been bulletproof all season long. And tonight at home against a reeling Cubs team that strikes out a lot, if I can only play one of the top end starters, he's my guy.
Yeah, I get that. It makes a lot of sense. We both see this very much eye to eye, as you mentioned. I like how you brought up that aside from one inning against Philly and a couple starts against Cincy, that, Cincy team that's really made him work. He's been lights out. So, ton to like about him here. With question marks surrounding a ton of pitchers right now, you feel pretty safe about Peralta. Since he's so interesting, like they make Freddie Peralta really work, and then yesterday they make Kyle Mueller look like Cy Mueller.
Cy Mueller. Um, I don't know, man. Like sometimes it's just a team. Like maybe it could be like their video researchers or one of their coaches. Like you just get a lead on somebody, and Peralta's got great stuff. So you're probably not going to rock him a lot, but they put together really good team at bats against him.
Yeah, and also this, you mentioned like you can make cases for the cheaper pitcher. So the case is exactly what I brought up. Kyle Mueller throwing a really good game. It's baseball, so like you said, you're not going to have a lot of people, get a lot of people to buy the case you're selling. But man, you can make a case for almost anything in baseball.
What did we see on Saturday? Like I was rocking Kyle Gibson and Adam Wainwright in my lineup, and they were both awesome and outscored Jacob deGrom. So crazier things can happen. And then that Zach Thompson guy threw up a 30 spot as well. I mean, Gibson
Yeah,
and Thompson combination would have given you all the offense in the world, and you got almost 80 points out of those two.
and it's like there's no one on this slate that we like to do that, and it probably won't happen, but it could. Like,
It
it
exists.
easily could happen if any one of these offenses are off, etc.
All right, so speaking of offense, let's move over to cash game lock for the day. So I'm going to go over to the Los Angeles Dodgers, who, again, they're not having their best season, but they still have a really nice record. They still have a really good offense, and there's parts of me that likes them as a stack today. The problem with that being is they're super, super expensive, and I have absolutely no way to reasonably get there based on the issues we had with pitching. The one guy, though, that looks real good right now is going to be Cody Bellinger. Again, ultimately, when he's swinging at his highest level, he's as good as anybody in the lineup with the exception of maybe Mookie Betts. and he's had an off season, but he's looking good right now. Back-to-back games with a home run, sub 4K. Desclafani's having a really nice season, and kudos to him. But he has struggled against the good California teams in this division, the Padres and the Dodgers. And he's always been weaker against lefties substantially. And Bellinger's obviously a left-handed hitter who's got power and speed.
I'm gonna say, man, like when he's right, he's every bit as good from a DFS perspective as Mookie Betts. Real life, also, like he's right up there as one of those upper echelon players, hot right now. I mean, this is one of the elite, hitters who's in a groove right now at 3,900. He just makes way too much sense in all formats, but especially cash games.
You know what's funny about him and Betts, if my memory serves me correctly, each of them are kind of like every other year. Like Mookie Betts, every other year looks like he might be the best player in baseball. And then the next season, like he's fine. But there's no question that Mike Trout's better, right? Like it's not even a question. And then the next year after that, you're like, oh, this guy could be the MVP. And then the year after that, like he's good, but he's not great. And so Bellinger's kind of been a lot of the same thing. Either way, he is starting to look good right now. And he's got, with the exception of like the Tatises and the Acuñas of the world, his speed power combination is right up there with the best.
It really is.
So he's underrated with the speed too, just because he hits so many home runs. Forget how fast this guy is.
He's very underrated with the speed. When he's on, he runs.
All right, next up, Christian Walker, Arizona. So we were toying around with the cheaper offenses on the members-only video. And for the time being, there isn't one that's like overwhelming chalk. But if that changes throughout the day, it's not Arizona that I ever expect to be overwhelming chalk.
There's no chance they're going to be overwhelming chalk. People just don't like their players enough. They're not good enough. I mean, if they are, not interested. Assuming they're not, because I think it's a safe assumption. I like a bunch of these guys. Walker stands out 3,100. Hits really well against left-handed pitching. It's going to be the bullpen after LeBlanc. Their bullpen's not very good. Walker's seeing the ball well right now. Double digits in 3 of 4. Coming off a tough series against San Diego. The Diamondbacks finally won their first road game in like 2 months on Saturday. I think they have, they play with the pressure off here, and I'm not scared at all of St. Louis, any part of them right now. St. Louis looks like they got problems. I think Arizona.
Yeah, I can see that too. It doesn't mean that they're going to play well today, but it has to mean I like the idea of a bad team playing with no pressure on them. And after, like you said, winning their first road game in almost 2 months, just to let you guys know how long it's been, the last road game they won was Bumgarner's no-hitter. And that seems like decades ago.
Seriously. And yeah, I mean, they're not like in the playoffs. So, I mean, they know that. They've known that. A bunch of teams know that. So the pressure's off. They probably want to finish, at least have some good games for their pride, if nothing else.
Yeah, they're professional players. I mean, every batter that goes up, man, you all can remember playing Little League and Babe Ruth baseball and stuff like that, right? Like when you're up there, you want to get a hit. I don't care if we're down 10-0. I like getting hits.
Yeah, exactly. So they're really affordable in a good spot, and I couldn't agree more.
All right, next up, speaking of affordable, check out David Fletcher of the Los Angeles Angels, only 2,500. Is he going to be back in the leadoff spot today? I don't know. We'll see what happens when the lineup comes out. It's a righty on the mound, so maybe, maybe not. Either way, he's only 2,500. Now, he does not do the things that DK rewards in the sense of power. He can run a little bit. He is in the midst of a double-digit hit streak right now. But more than anything, guys, this is a price play right here. We want high-price pitching today. The low-price pitching is not to our love, to say the very, very least today. So I need some cheaper bats to finish off my lineup. And the other thing for cash games is if he's back in the leadoff spot today, you're going to know about it. This is the first game. He'll be leadoff at 2,500. And everybody will have hours to prepare for it, making him very, very popular.
Yeah, I've always been a Fletcher fan, and you're right. He's not the guy that you plug in for upside. He reminds me a lot of Luis Arias for the Twins.
Damn, that's exactly what I was thinking when you said that.
Yeah, sweet. I figured we're often on the same page with stuff like that. And you look the other day, Arias had like 2 triples. It's Fletcher's a good hitter. Like he doesn't hit for power. He doesn't run a ton, but he's a good hitter. He's going to put the ball in play. He could easily go 3 for 4 today. And he had like 8 yesterday. You'll take that 8 at 2,500 all day.
Yeah, especially given the pitching options, right? Like we went through this one. Like if you're going to play high price pitchers today and you want any good bats, like you're going to need a couple of these guys below 3K. And why not take a guy below 3K that you feel pretty good? At least he's not giving you a 0. We talked about all the time. When you're near the top of GPPs, what a big difference like 3 or 5 points can make. Like I had a solid Saturday lineup where it brought back like 7 times buy-in. But man, like 3 points and that turns into 15 times buy-in. Like that makes a huge difference. Or if you're just below the cash line, like I like a cheaper guy who maybe he doesn't have a lead upside, but most cheaper guys don't have a lead upside, but at least going to do something for you.
Yeah, exactly. And he should bat 4 times. He could bat 5 times tonight.
All right. Next up, we're going to move over to your Cleveland Indians. Talk about Eddie Rosario. So we talked about this Manning kid from Detroit a couple starts ago. He had been getting just shelled at AAA. And through his first 2 starts at the professional level, like he's been all right. Not great, not bad. Hasn't given up a ton of runs. Hasn't, shut down people either. So kind of somewhere in the middle. Waiting for that other shoe to fall. I think he only struck out 4 guys in his first 2 starts, so he doesn't miss a lot of bats, which can lead to trouble at the professional level. And that's where you want to talk about Eddie Rosario, who is not having a great year, but we know he's better than this, and he has a lot of buying signs over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, against the guy that you mentioned can't strike guys out. Rosario, I feel like he's got a big game coming, dumb multiple home run type game. So for Cleveland against the guys you mentioned, really struggled in the minors this year. He's better than that, but he also seems like he's just skated by his first 2 starts. The no strikeouts is a big red flag. When you're not striking out guys at this level, I mean, unless you're one of these established veterans that we know how to pitch, like you're asking for trouble. And I think that Manning could get in a lot of trouble tonight. And Cleveland doesn't have that many guys that you like want to lock in. Rosario is one of them, right there with J-Ram for me.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we know J-Ram's a really, really good player, but the difference with him and a bunch of the other dudes, like, he's expensive. Like, you have to prioritize J-Ram. And we like J-Ram today. But the rest of the Cleveland roster, with the exception of Bobby Bradley, really, really inexpensive. So you can get to multiple Cleveland guys. Rosario is not cheap, but he's also not expensive. And this is a guy we've seen with multiple, I believe, 20-plus home run seasons. And so while the year hasn't gone great, at any point, like, an extended hot streak seems like it's not outside the realm of possibility.
And I'll say this about both these guys. Well, Rosario and Bellinger, like you look at the other guys that are priced in that price range. I mean, first off, Rosario's not even Bellinger's level, so it's disrespect to even put him in there. But a lot of these other guys, I mean, in tough spots, Bellinger in particular just really stands out at 3,900. He's way more of a 5K player. We know this.
Yeah, well, when he's rolling and hasn't been on the IL and stuff like that, I mean, Bellinger is a 5K plus player. So he's just mispriced today. I don't understand why there isn't a human common sense element that goes into the pricing. And maybe it's just too overwhelming. But like any normal human being who knows anything about baseball, I don't care if he's facing Jacob deGrom. Cody Bellinger should just never be below 4K.
You would definitely be in play like against any pitcher at 3,900. You wouldn't be like locking him in against DeGrom. He wouldn't be like a lock. But if you had 3,900 left as an outfield spot, I'd have no problem plugging him in, even against a matchup like that.
He's very good, and he's got back-to-back games with home runs. There's a reason he was the first guy we brought up. He makes a lot of sense today. I figured Bellinger is just going to be insanely chalky.
So do I. I will say, though, like, man, there's only so many outfield spots, and people love to stack. So I don't know how much love the Dodgers get. I think Bellinger will be one of the highest owned players, but not as much as if it were like a basketball player that was that cheap. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there's close to 100 outfielders in play.
Exactly. So I do think he'll be the highest owned, though, but I have no problem with it in tournaments.
Just one of those guys that's like all of a sudden if you popped open an NBA slate and you're like looking at Paul George at like 6,900, you're like, wait a minute, huh? That doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't love him, but how do I not play him right here? It's a little different in basketball, but he just seems mispriced.
Agreed.
So, all right, guys, good luck tonight.
Thanks, guys.